If you've been thinking about starting a business or you've just started one, here are 5 lessons that I learned from Noah Kagan's $1 Million Weekend that will teach you how you can start a business and guarantee that you'll make money. I crushed this book in just a couple of hours because it was seriously one of the best business books that I've read in a long time. And I've read a lot of business books. I personally really loved it because it was super actionable. If you're new here, hi, I'm Angel. I am a marketer in tech, content creator, as well as entrepreneur. And this video is a part of my ongoing series called Book Club, where I read books and just teach you everything that I learned. Now, the first lesson, which I personally think is one that is very important, is to start by identifying your fears. It sounds cheesy, I know, but it's important to figure out why people actually have a really hard time starting, because the problem is all these people have all these amazing ideas every single day, but then why aren't there more small business owners or entrepreneurs? Typically, there are 2 main fears that come with starting a business: the fear of failure and the fear of asking. I know failure and rejection can feel really scary, but the only way that you're ever going to be able to start anything is to just start and experiment and try and learn and not be afraid of failures and mistakes. Just like how startups have adopted the idea of lean startups, you want to be able to start small, start fast, and not to worry about what you don't know. If you talk to the most successful people in the world, they're probably going to be able to tell you 1,000,001 times that they have failed before they actually landed on the idea that brought them success. The difference between them and you where you are right now is that they are not afraid of failure. If you think about it, all failures in life are actually an opportunity for you to learn and improve the next time around. So whether that's teaching you what not to do or how you can improve for the next time, all of your failures and rejections all end up being these data points that help guide you to the next step. Because if you don't try and make those mistakes, how will you know what not to do? As Noah says, small experiments repeated over time is the recipe to success for any business. In fact, he specifically also talks about the rule of 100. And the rule really just states that if you are starting something, you should try to do that thing 100 times before you even considering quitting. So instead of starting a business and running it for 5 weeks or 5 months and then deciding, it's not working, I'm just gonna shut it down. You need to be able to commit to at least trying it 100 times or trying 100 different methods before you actually have enough data points to know that that thing isn't going to work. Not only is this going to give you the practice you need to actually get good at doing that thing, but it's also going to help you give a fair chance to your new project or venture. As for the fear of asking, Noah also says that you will never be able to sell a thing if you can't face the person that you are selling to and actually ask for what you want. No ask, no get. It's that simple. Asking for money or even sometimes just asking for someone's time can be terrifying. I get it. Rejection is hard. Nobody wants to be rejected. But just like how you need to reframe failures, you also need to reframe the idea of rejections. See it as a good thing, because if you are able to reframe your brain to see rejections as a goal and as a stepping stone to improving, then asking will be your superpower when it comes to making a successful business. There's this famous quote from Steve Jobs that I love and that Noah also includes in the book. And the quote says, "Most people never pick up the phone. Most people never ask." And that's what separates the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act and you gotta be willing to fail. Because if you think about it, ultimately the whole process of having and running a business is that you will try new things, you will ask people if they're willing to give you money for it, and then if that doesn't work, you'll try something new based on what you have learned. The second lesson I learned from $1 Million Weekend is that there is such thing as over planning. Now, I'm not saying that having a plan isn't important. In fact, a lot of the lessons you learn in this book do kind of help you develop a plan to starting the business, but there is such thing as over planning and overthinking and letting that stop you from actually starting. Overthinking may seem like this really smart thing that's going to help you make sure that you have no problems and everything goes smooth so that you can launch properly, but in reality, it is actually a really ineffective and inefficient way to start your business. Most people typically overthink first and then take action second, but if you look at the patterns of all the successful business people in the world, their process typically is take action, get real feedback, and then continue to work on that thing with that feedback. So really, this whole lesson is all about act first, figure it out later, because you're going to learn as you go, and you're going to learn when you talk to people about it and ask people for money and price things and see how it sells. All of these data points are what's going to help you decide how to tweak and work on your business so that it can continue to grow and make you that $1 million paycheck. So Noah has this really fun phrase that he coined in the book that just says, now, not how. So the next time that you are overthinking and over planning and just stressing out about all the minute details that probably don't matter right now, tell yourself, now, not how. Take action first and stop worrying about how you're going to do it. The third lesson in the book is one that I actually have learned time and again working in marketing, but it is to start with the problem. In the book, you learn about the 3 W's of businesses, aka the most important things that you need to focus on. And those 3 W's are: who is your customer, what is the problem that you can solve for them, or what is their pain point, and where are these customers? With any type of business or with any type of project or venture or creative thing that you're trying to create, it is so important that you first identify who it is that you're trying to sell to, or who is the target market. It doesn't matter if you have the coolest idea in the world if nobody is willing to buy it. So who are they? What do they do? What are their interests? What do they do in their free time? How old are they? What is their stage in life? Really think about all of the details that come with building out a customer profile and figuring out exactly who it is you think your target market is. Once you've defined one or several customer profiles that you might want to sell to or that you feel like you can relate to, start thinking about what are the problems that I can solve for them, or what are the problems that they have in their day-to-day life that currently don't have a great solution. So I want you to spend a little bit of time in this section and really create a long list of different problems your customers can have, because not only are you going to be able to figure out what problems you can solve, aka then figure out what products you can sell, but you'll also be able to learn about your customers and just understand them a bit better. Your job as an entrepreneur really is just to listen to your customers, find a solution for it, and then validate that they're going to pay for it. It's that simple. All right, lastly, you need to figure out where your customers are located, both physically as well as in the digital space. So where are they consuming social media? What news outlets do they pay attention to? What socials do they actually use? Where do they learn? Where do they go to gather product information? Is it Reddit, YouTube? Is it review sites? Because if you think about it, between a Gen Z target audience who probably gets a lot of their news and information from social media versus maybe a boomer target audience who probably still go to review sites and ask their friends and read official news media sites, this will really dictate how you can actually reach out to those customers to be able to start communicating with them and start telling them about your business. So once you have your 3 W's figured out, you can start to use some of his methods to start brainstorming ideas, but always making sure that you're keeping your 3 W's in mind. So his process for this is to identify what is the most painful, aka valuable problem that you can solve that is within your knowledge, or that you can use your unique experience to add to, for the largest niche possible that you either belong to or have an understanding of. So it's broken down into those 3 parts so that you can use it and just sort of fill in the blanks. But the keys here are he looks to his zone of influence first. Your zone of influence really really is your network, your friends, your family, essentially people who already know you and who already trust you. So when you're starting any new business venture, it's always going to be easier to start within your zone of influence. It's also going to make your life so much easier if you try to use your unique advantage. So what are the things that make you unique as a business owner, or what are the unique skill sets that you have that make you different from any other typical business owner that you can actually apply to solving the problem for your customers? If you're stuck at this step and you just can't think of any amazing business ideas, you should definitely check out this free resource from HubSpot, which actually gives you 50 lucrative business ideas that's actually sorted into categories and industries as well. The resource is super neat. It gives you $1 million business ideas in areas like AI and tech, education, entertainment, events, services, retail, and even in the influencer industry. Each idea is then linked to a specific segment of the My First Million podcast, so you can actually go in and listen to how you can build out that business idea. My favorite section is definitely the influencer section, because I am a content creator, and it provides business ideas that I literally never have imagined before, which I thought was so cool. So definitely go and check that out. It will be linked in the description box below. I absolutely love that HubSpot offers all of these free resources because it can be so helpful whether you are an entrepreneur, creative, student, business owner. So thank you, HubSpot, for always supporting us entrepreneurs as well as supporting the creators and this channel specifically. And yeah, thank you for sponsoring today's video. Now that you finally have some business ideas, the book is called $1 Million Weekend After All. So how can you start to validate whether those business ideas can actually make you $1 million? That takes us to lesson 4, which is that validation is mandatory. It's important to note that your job is not to create demand for something exciting. Your job is to find the demand that already exists and satisfy it. That is what's going to make your job as an entrepreneur way easier. So to start the process of validating whether your business is a $1 million idea, here are some questions that you should ask yourself. Is the market flat, dying, or growing? You can find this out by going to Google Trends. It's a free tool that you can use, and all you have to do is punch in the keyword of the business industry or idea that you're thinking of, and it'll actually show you a graph over time of people's interests, aka their Google searches on that specific thing over a specific period of time. Once you kind of have a good idea of the trend of the market, you should then identify what is the approximate market size for that category. To do this, you can use Facebook ads. Now, I'm not telling you to spend money here, but Facebook ads actually allows you to punch in a keyword and it'll give you an approximate market size, aka people who are using Facebook who are interested in that thing. Yes, I know this is just one platform, but there are so many people who use Facebook that it is going to give you a decent idea of what that market size might look like. Once you have those two pieces of information, then it's time to follow the formula that will tell you whether you have $1 million idea. So let's say we are trying to sell a yoga service where I come to your home and teach you yoga. You want to identify how much you think you can charge for this. For me, I think I can charge $120 for this yoga session. Then you want to take that number, aka the rate that you want to charge for your product or service, multiply it by that audience size that you found on Facebook, and if that number equals $1 million or more than $1 million, then congratulations, you have your first $1 million business idea. Now, having $1 million business idea is great, but you also need to identify like how viable it is for you to actually do that thing. So if it's a service, it's like, how viable is it for me to actually provide that service to make $1 million? So to do that, he actually has this 1-minute business model, which is essentially taking your goal, which is $1 million, and dividing it by your profit to find out what is the quantity of products or services that you need to sell to hit that target. Now that we've sort of broached the topic of the money and the dollars and we're getting into the numbers, the last lesson that I thought was so key is the lesson of no money, no honey. So you've done the evaluation and you've created your 1-minute business model. This is all still speculation until you get that first dollar, or until you can validate that people will actually give you money for it. So Noah Kagan actually has this golden rule of validation that you need to meet and follow in order to validate whether or not you have a good business. So that rule is you need to find 3 customers within a 48-hour time span who is willing to give you money, and not just willing, but they will give you the money upfront when you ask. The reason there is a timeline is because limitation breeds creativity. So giving yourself a deadline will just help you figure out and feel a little desperate to validate that your business works, aka you're going to actually be focused in trying to reach out to people and trying to see who is willing to pay you for your product or service. But as I mentioned earlier, just start with your zone of influence and talk to people you already know and who already know you, and try to sell them your idea. So how you're going to do this is, for one, you're going to start with direct pre-selling. Start to ask for money and see how people react. Are they shocked? Are they super happy and willing to give you the money? That is what's going to tell you whether your business idea makes sense or not. Typically, everyone in your zone of influence is going to think your idea is cool or interesting until they're requested to pay for it. And that reaction is going to give you a genuine idea of what they really think about it. If they say no, which a lot of them will, turn that no or rejection into an opportunity. So ask, why not? Why wouldn't you buy this thing? You can also ask, who do you think would buy this thing? Who do you think would benefit from it? Because that information is going to help you tailor your target audience and make it even more specific. What can I do to make this a no-brainer for you? Because maybe something is just missing, or maybe the timing is wrong, or the payment terms are wrong. But if you ask them, what can I do to make this a no-brainer for you? That information is going to be critical when you're actually leaving your zone of influence to sell to other people. And the last question, what would you pay for it? Maybe your price just isn't realistic for the service that you're trying to offer or the product you're trying to sell. So ask them what they would pay for it, because it's gonna help you close the gap between what you think it's worth and what the customer actually thinks it's worth. If you've exhausted your zone of influence and you still want to validate it further, you can do this through Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and just say, hey, I am selling this. It's great for these people. I'm selling it for this amount. If you're interested, message me. So if you have followed along with this video, or if you do these specific things, you will then have a $1 million business idea, or a couple that you can start trying and experimenting with. If you haven't given this a try, my challenge for you is to pick one weekend out of this month or the coming month that you're going to dedicate to brainstorming and validating your $1 million idea. That's the whole reason he called this book The $1 Million Weekend, is because you're actually able to do all of these steps and go from ideation all the way up to validation, all within a weekend. Once you've done it, come back and comment and let us know how the process went, how it made you feel, because I want to be here to keep you accountable so that you can continue to go after your entrepreneurial dreams. And I promise I will respond to every single comment left in this video so that we can do this together. The honest truth and the parting words that I want to leave you with is that your first idea probably won't make you $1 million. In fact, your second and third idea probably won't make you $1 million as well. But the reason that we do this, the reason that we choose to be entrepreneurs, even if it's hard, is because throughout the process of trying something and failing, and then trying something else and failing, we are not only improving our skill set so that we can become better business owners and have better ideas, but we are also working on ourselves as people, working on our mental resilience, and just overall growing and improving and learning on the way. And that is kind of what makes entrepreneurship such an amazing and beautiful journey to embark on. So please just remember that every single failure that we come across in life only ends up being a stepping stone to help us get to where we want to go quicker. I know this was a ton of information, but the most important things that you need to remember are to start by identifying your fears so that you can tackle them. There is such thing as over planning. So remember, now, not how. Always start with the problem and your customer, of course. Validation is absolutely mandatory because no money, no honey. If your $1 million business has to do with freelancing or offering a service, then it's going to be important for you to learn how to actually set up a freelancing or service providing business. So if you want to learn how to do that and just have a comprehensive guide for that, then check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please hit the subscribe button or just leave a comment, because these little actions that you take is what helps me grow the channel so that I can help more people in their entrepreneurial journey. But that's it. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!